moment en tout cas nous pose souvent, c'est comment en tant que marque je peux m'assurer de rester visible dans justement ce nouveau paradigme où c'est plus uniquement...
Merci pour ce beau keynote. On va maintenant passer au sujet des magasins qui a également été évoqué ce matin lors de l'introduction. Puisque longtemps, en faisant la part belle au digital, on a souvent condamné ce magasin, comme si le physique et le virtuel ne pouvaient pas cohabiter. Peut-être tout simplement qu'on n'a pas su poser le débat. Magasin augmenté et connecté, le magasin redevient central. C'est sur ce sujet stratégique qu'on va accueillir 4 intervenants. Tash, Whitmey, Managing Director, Tesco, Retail Media, Laurent Thoumine, Retail EMEA, Senior Managing Director pour Accenture, Thierry Gadou, Chairman and CEO pour VusionGroup et Marc Ibbotson, fondeur d'Ibbotson Consulting et ex-Wademark. Je vous demande de les accueillir avec moi. Merci beaucoup.
Thank you and good afternoon, everyone. It's crowded here, and I'm Laurent Thoumine, so I'm leading the retail, fashion, and luxury businesses of Accenture across EMEA, and I'm a proud also Genius board member of this event, Tech for Retail. So I couldn't be prouder than having you today on stage because it's demonstrating that we are becoming a truly international event. It's not only a Frenchy kind of exhibition that we are having now. Thanks to Karen and thanks to Pascal, we are now privileged to have at least 2 persons who are representing iconic retailers and 1 person that is representing the transformation that is going on in the stores across the world, which is representing, by the way, a French company. So Cocorico for this. I will let you introduce yourself. Mark, maybe in few words.
Hi, my name's Mark Ibbotson. I'm based in the US, advisor consultant for myself, investor. I'm with McKinsey, but ultimately I'm a grocer. I grew up in the grocery industry in Sainsbury's, in Asda, and latterly Walmart for about 20 years. Thank you very much for the invitation.
Thierry?
Yes, so I'm Thierry Gadou. I'm the CEO of VusionGroup. So we are, as you said, a French headquarter, global company, but we are retail tech and we specialize in digitizing physical stores. So we do IoT and digital solutions to turn the stores into more data-driven, more automated, more connected environments. And ultimately to make it a very strong weapon for the omni-channel battle.
Tash.
Hello everybody, thank you very much for having me. I'm Tash and I work at Tesco. I'm currently leading Tesco Media, which is our retail media proposition and offering, and before that I spent 6 years leading the Club Card program, which is our loyalty program working for the customer team in Tesco.
Thank you, sir. We had a conversation, Mark and me, just before going on stage about our, what we've been doing during the last century, mainly opening up stores. So we said, well, the job was quite easy at the time. I mean, it was about opening up additional store that would generate additional revenue. Since 2010, and the famous retail apocalypse, that was the kind of title we had in the press, it is quite obvious to say that we are now trying to optimize and to reinvent the store role in most of the retail subsegment of that industry. So can we say that the store is back, as a matter of fact? Is that a fair statement?
Well, I think, I mean, like you, I've been through the stores, it's over, we're going to close, whether it was 2008, whether it was, I can remember Ocado opening and the share prices of the UK retailers dropped overnight. That didn't end up well for them. I don't think the store's ever gone away. And I think that, people talk a lot about the store of the future. The store of the future for me is hidden in plain sight. It is the store that is already there, being digitized, being repurposed as forward deployed inventory, that's going to be shopped traditionally, delivered at speed, delivered next day, or offered for pickup. So it's always been a very, very efficient end of a supply chain that we have let people in, the warehouses that we've let people in. I think if you look at, the last few years, what the retail industry did during COVID, literally fed the world, provided prescriptions, medical advice. The supply chain is super efficient. We ship in pallets, we pick in eaches, and the store, particularly its proximity, is its superpower. So it never went away for me.
Tash, is it, when we are thinking about the concept of connected store, is that a reality for you? Is it the way we could describe that transformation that is going on related to, that statement, the store is back?
Well, I think it's interesting, isn't it? When we were having a bit of a chat before this session, Mark and I both said that we would challenge that whole concept of the store is back because we don't think it ever went anywhere. And I can speak for Tesco, but probably the vast majority of big grocery retailers, at least 70% or 80% of all shopping missions and transactions happen every week in store. And it's also where the magic happens. So it's the moment where a colleague engages with a customer and makes that experience better. So we don't think it ever went anywhere. I think I agree with Mark that the future of the store is hidden in plain sight. We have these amazing assets where millions and millions of customers come in every week. And it's our job and it's incumbent on us as retailers to be really clear what the customer expectation is and to deliberately focus on enhancing the experience that they have in store. And when we talk about the digitization of the store, really I see that as the ability to navigate better, the ability to modernize the experience, the ability to free colleagues up to do the things that they really love, which is engaging with customers and making that shopping trip better.
And Tash, when you're mentioning the way we are interacting with the customers, are you thinking about retail media?
Well, I was actually meaning more broadly the whole interaction and the whole shopping mission, because, listen, when we talk about retail media at Tesco, we definitely don't talk about monetization, ever. If you think about Tesco as an organisation, our purpose is to serve our customers, communities and planet a little better every day. And so when you think about that in the context of retail media, we want to make sure that we're building media experiences that enhance the shopping trip in-store and online. And in some cases, are instrumental in connecting the in-store and the online shopping experience by adding moments of magic, little moments of magic, and helping customers discover products, both products that they love and products that they might like to enjoy in the future. And then when you look at the digitization of the store, that kind of canvas is wide open to build a brilliant connected store proposition for retail media.
Mark, in a recent press article coming from the Wall Street Journal, if I remember well, Doug McDillon stated the fact that they're going to keep growing at Walmart significantly with the same kind of CAGR, but without hiring any new individual within their organization. Is that reflecting the level of digitalization of the store, and to what extent?
Well, look, I've read the same articles. I'm ex-Walmart. I don't speak for Walmart, but I think the sense that I get from Walmart and many other retailers worldwide is I will have fewer, more interesting, higher profile, more fulfilling jobs. You know, the digitization, AI, the use of technology, the application of technology, we can see a possibility to Tash's point, liberate people to serve and sell. We'll never replace humanity. You know, invest in training, invest in selling skills. Let the technology do the mundane, the boring, the tedious, the heavy. And I see a real possibility to have higher value roles. We have, as an industry, find it increasingly challenged to recruit people into our roles. So there is a possibility, I think, there to start to think about the role in the future, the connected store, the connected supply chain, that we will supercharge the associate on the shop floor to do a better, more interesting job?
Interestingly enough, maybe you've witnessed that, but Lidl has been deploying the Liva concept, so Lidl voice assistant, that is combined with an AI or a series of agents that is actually providing to the store employee information with regards to the next best action that that person should execute in the store. Is that the kind of transformation you anticipate as well in your respective organizations?
I mean, I can't speak for whether that's something that we've got in our immediate plans at Tesco. What I do know is that for many, many years, all of our colleagues have worn a headset, and that headset has helped them help customers find products, which actually is at the core of the shopping trip. Help me find the products that I want to find in as easy, seamless way as possible. So I think we've all been doing stuff like this for a while, and you can see with the advent of AI how that could, you know, move into like next best action. I would actually argue that the vast majority of our colleagues know what the next best action is, because they're the people that are actually engaging with customers every single day of the week. And when you see a brilliant colleague, you know, engaging with a customer, it's just about giving them that little bit of extra help to make the particular touch point better for the customer and therefore more rewarding for the colleague.
Thierry, what is the contribution of technology to that evolution?
Well, I think, well, you would be surprised if I was telling you it's not very important, but if I may just disagree first with Mark and Tash.
Please do.
No, just because we share obviously the great prospects for the store in the future. But I think the store is back. I think it somehow went away for a while from capex plans of retailers. If I look at the past 10 years, we've been very often in presence of retailers where, for instance, the e-commerce strategy was solely based and focused on automated warehouses, on, you know, very robotized fulfillment centers. And now you see the shift is completely changing. I think we can't, first we need to say that Mark is very modest. He's the father of e-commerce, grocery e-commerce at Walmart. So, but if you think at last week's announcement of Walmart, it's just, you know, it's amazing. I mean, they post whatever, 7-8% growth, but they post 28% growth in e-commerce. And the majority of that is fulfilled out of stores. And 70% growth in store fulfilled or online orders. It means the main e-commerce asset of that company, by the way, they're doing over $100 billion of e-commerce, is the store. So I think the store is back, and it's something new. I can see the shift happening in the last 12, 18 months, in fact, that all of a sudden there is this realization that one of the biggest battles is e-commerce, because that's the only growth segment actually in retail today, right? That's where the growth happens. So you need to win in that battle, and the store is a fundamental asset. But it's also the beginning, thanks to technology, because the store is incredibly, you know, wealthy of a traffic. So in terms of media, it's a media asset. It's a fundamental media asset. It's a data asset. It's a data asset. So it's a 360 retail asset. And I think that magic is rediscovered by a lot of retailers, both in the US and in Europe. And I see that as a big transformation. The stores are going to be at the heart of the strategic transformation plans of all retailers now. And you couldn't have said that 3 years ago. Because at that time, it was all about retail media online. It was about online revenues. It was about CFCs, about the world. It was not about modernizing, revitalizing the store. So yes, the breaking news is the store is back at the core of omnichannel. And it will be the keynote of the future omnichannel network enabled by data, automation, AI, of course.
So it basically means as well that the way we analyze the P&L of a store has to evolve significantly, because the different lines of the P&L are evolving as well structurally. You mentioned the productivity of the employees. We are struggling to hire employees across the developed countries, let's say, or developed economies. So productivity is enabled by AI, by a certain number of technologies. the customer interaction is much more personalized, but what I understood from what you just said, in different experiences we are providing to the customers. And the merge between online and offline is being executed as we speak. Is that the right statement? I mean, the P&L is structurally evolving in the retail industry.
Yeah, I think the whole industry doesn't really get the credit for the dynamism, the innovation of the last, say, 40 years. We've been around for 40 odd years in this industry. And if I think about, you mentioned the productivity of people, it's always been at the forefront. I think now in the connected supply chain, we have the possibility with really accurate data to start to think about the productivity of products, the productivity of places, and go back right the way through the supply chain. Really cut out waste at its core. Do we need as much working capital? Can we increase the velocity? Can we make the right decisions on behalf of the customer at the store level? So I think this is a really interesting time, and it's always been an interesting time, to be honest, to be in this industry and to have real accuracy of data. You talked about associates making decisions on what to do next. I'm as much in what do we take off them? Perpetual inventory. I've been trying to solve this all my life. Now I see it being solved. And the wasted time that you spend, trying to find something, trying to count something, and trying to anticipate, we can do that upstream. We can solve it for you. And to Tash's point, give people the ability to look a customer in the eye, thank them, serve them well, show them where a product is. I think it's a very exciting time.
Tesco has been a pioneer in everything that was related to analytic when it comes to a customer. Since Scoring Points, that was the name of the book that has been released, 20 years ago maybe? No.
30.
30?
Club Cards
Okay.
30.
My gosh. So 30 years ago, I wouldn't ask you what happened since then, but at least during the last 18 months, 24 months, what are the key initiatives that Tesco has launched at scale that are contributing to that reinvention of the store?
So you're absolutely right. So 30 years ago, we invented Tesco Club Card, which currently has over 24 million active households on it, and transactions with a club card stand at 80%. So that's really important because that level, breadth, tenure and depth of data really gives Tesco insight into the behaviours and motivations of the nation, but also into individual shoppers and what they need. And so this is well publicised. We have 4 growth drivers, one of which is called I Love My Tesco Club Card, and that's really a game of 2 halves that sits on top of an invigorated and digitised and activated club card. And the first half is personalisation at scale. So Tesco's always been brilliant at personalising to a customer within a channel. But personalisation at scale, we now do have the skills and technology to be able to personalise at a customer level. So there's a huge amount of work going on that. And if you were in room 7 about an hour ago, you'd seen Liz Masters from the Club Card team talking about one of our new loyalty propositions. So continuing to double down on strengthening the Club Card proposition. A strong proposition drives that level of engagement. And then utilising the combination of Club Card and technology to personalise at scale. And then the other half of that is how do we strengthen and deepen the relationships that we have with our supplier partners in order to drive longevity and depth and breadth there. And that's really where retail media sits in the Tesco ecosystem.
So if I understand well, if I try to summarize the conversation so far, we are thinking about a connected store, a store that is connected with suppliers, connected with employees, and connected with customers. Thierry, what are the kind of technological requirements to unleash the possibilities that are related to that connection with that ecosystem?
Yeah, that's that's a little bit the complexity of this transformation of the store, because you have a number of things. What you want is to, I use this word, I don't know if it's proper word, but datafy the store. So you want to transform the store into data. the reality of the store, the real-time reality of the store, you need to transform into data. What's on my shelves? What's my facings? Who's in my store? At every moment, you need to know a number of things, which today, frankly, you don't have an idea about, right? So, and so that requires some technologies which we usually call IoT. So you need to have sensors, cameras, radar technologies, Wi-Fi connectivity, and that is already in itself a complexity because you need different connectivity protocols and tools and technologies for different use cases. So it's super complex. Until now, it was very complex. And so then you have to make sense of the data in order to turn data into results. So you need to turn data into action. Then you need AI, and obviously you need analytics and you need AI because people need to be led to the next best action. Shoppers need to be also guided, and they need to have a personalized approach in the store. So that's the second thing. So really it's about capturing the reality of the store in real time. So that's computer vision, that's electronic shelf labels, smart rail, smart shelf technologies. And you need to have a digital continuity. In other words, you can't capture something with Wi-Fi, something with HF, something with another protocol, because you're going to have just a nightmare in terms of technology. So my guess and our bet at Vusion is that the main protocol that's going to digitize the store is going to be the Bluetooth, simply because it's connected with everybody.
The Bluetooth, you said?
The Bluetooth. It's going to be the next big IoT protocol because it's just so simple. It's just common sense. You operate the IoT, you operate the connectivity with shoppers, with your associates, you guide them, you locate them, you connect them, you synchronize, product, places, people. That's all. And so that's very powerful. And it's going to be a simplification for all the retailers to have all of a sudden this unified, approach to digitizing the store. So, the reason why I said stores are back, it's not only to contradict my two neighbors, but it's also because technology is ready. That's the beauty of it. Now technology is ready. And I think in 2026, and in the next 1-2 years, we're going to see incredible realizations in the stores. We're working on super exciting projects which are completely changing the customer experience. Finding the product, being treated, being greeted, being treated as an individual, uniquely, having only the things that I'm interested in, being shown to me, being guided to saving time, saving money, having the right deals for me, just with my voice, or maybe with my wearables. In the future, with Meta Ray-Bans, it's going to be so easy. And for the associate, the same. You mentioned it's going to be like a hidden warehouse, So we're on the brinks of an incredible new decade for retailers. And, they are massively underrated in the stock exchange right now, those retailers. So it's a great opportunity for investment too.
Indeed. So we understand that we need the infrastructure layer. We need a common communication protocol in a store because we are going to have so many use cases to connect the employees, the customers, and the suppliers. And it will be too costly actually to assemble a bunch of technologies which are coming from different providers. That's quite clear. What is preventing most of the retailers that you're interacting with, Mark, right now, to scale this?
So I think that question, I spoke to Thierry, I think about 9 years ago on this topic. And at that time, I'd read a number of things that the EC had published, actually, in a Connected Europe. Nokia had done a lot of really interesting papers on this topic. And then I heard Stephen Mollenkopf, who's the chief executive of Qualcomm, speak about 5G. This was the days of 3G, remember that? So we anticipated when we sat down and started to think about the connected store. And as you said, everybody can see everything. The consumer can see the product, the supplier can see the shelf, the management team can see the associates can communicate with the management team, everybody sees everything. And where this triggers for me has always been about cost. And two things have happened in the last 10 years. The price of technology has come down and the price of labor has gone up. When those cross, the business case is sprung. And we are at that point now. and it's going to go fast. So you're seeing it's going to go, you know, if you look at the biggest companies in retail, you know, Aldi, Lidl, Carrefour, in the US, Walmart, they've gone. That's the signal. And if I'm not in this world, it will be weaponized against you. And it will be a commercial advantage for your competitor. So it'll go quickly. It's started. It'll be very interesting if we're back on stage next year, the difference, where it's gone. I see this as really disruptive technology. It will change the way we work. It will change the way we shop.
A question to the three of you now. I remember in the good old days when we were opening up stores or renovating stores, we were asking to our suppliers to contribute. Okay, you understand what I mean? To financially contribute to the renovation of these stores. Well, do you have witnessed conversation between retailers and FMCG companies with regards to the evolution of the role of the store and the way to deploy technology recently?
I mean, I don't mind starting that. I'm going to specifically come at it from a retail media perspective. So, as I said before, we definitely see retail media not as a monetization exercise, but a way of helping our suppliers achieve the outcomes that they want to achieve with Tesco, and actually beyond Tesco when you think about the full funnel for marketing. So we work together with them to help build plans as far in advance of the in-year as we possibly can, because when you're building plans in advance of the in-year, it gives you much more space and capacity to build the right plans. So the role of retail media is to amplify the trade plan. The role of retail media is to make NPD, new product development launches, the most successful they can be. The role of retail media is to enhance the experience so that customers discover products and buy products and drive category growth. And so we really see it like that. And when I think about putting the lens of connected store onto that, it's super important to start to work out from a retail media perspective how you connect the currently kind of individual touch points of digital screens, the till, the scan as you shop devices, the app that customers have. Also with the magic of cardboard, which none of us should be shying away from because it still creates some real magic in store. And then how you connect that into the on-site experience so you've got an omni-channel. So we really see that as the way that we're working in partnership with our suppliers to drive the growth that they're after.
Okay, new product introduction being one of the elements that you mentioned. Do you see other kind of collaboration that is going on right now with suppliers, FMCG companies?
So the suppliers I've interacted with generally have been technology, operations, workforce management, the Microsofts of this world, the Googles of this world, the Vusions of this world. And I've always taken the view that I want to get the PO out of the way and I want to collaborate with you. And I want this relationship to last. And it is in my interest that you do very well. Because if you do well, I'll do well. You know, you're going to be closer to the technology than I've been. I will bring you problems to solve. I'll be interested in your next level of development. Vusion have built a beautiful customer experience center lab in Bentonville, Arkansas. And it's there looking at the next level. Where are Walmart thinking? Where are grocers thinking? The number of grocers that have visited this facility across the world is incredible. And that's a really good example of a relationship that I am anticipating what the customer wants, what the supplier wants, and more importantly, what the industry can absorb and scale. So I've always been, you know, I think about some of the people that I've worked with. There's vendors that I've worked with for 25 years. I don't want it to be transactional. I want it to be collaborative, and I want it to be for the long term.
Talking about collaboration, you invented a word, Thierry, which is actually realogram.
Yeah.
And I think this is one of the elements that can be shared with FMCG companies or with the partners of the retailer. Can you elaborate a bit more on what is this concept?
I didn't know I invented that word, but I certainly use it a lot. In fact, it's a very good example of the collaboration you were mentioning between retailers and suppliers and FMCG companies. I see every day signs of that collaboration strengthening. You know why? Because digitizing the store in the way we think of it now is an incredible opportunity for brands as well as for retailers in the first place. It's making the store a shared asset. That's why, of course, there are different ways of financing this transformation, which is, you're right, costly because it needs capex and, you know. So there are plenty of reasons. You talk about Realogram. I think the best example of that is our partnership with Nielsen, for instance. Because Nielsen is about, you know, the partnership, I mean, with Vusion, is really about bringing that value of having an eye in every shelf. Having an eye in every shelf. Being able to, you know, to tell everyone, you know, in the value chain, what's on the shelf, what's missing, you know, what's out of stock, what are the you know, the facings, what's the planogram, the realogram, the compliance. All these cost a fortune today to get, right? So if you can have an eye in the shelf, so that has great value for L'Oréal, for Procter & Gamble, for, you know, for brands, and obviously it has a huge value for retailers because they are optimizing inventory, transparency, etc. So this is a typical win-win situation. And the example of the partnership with Nielsen is a way to co-finance this transformation, because brands through that partnership are financing part of the technology because they get an advantage. They get a lot of cost savings first, and they have more data, more accurate data, more systematic data. And of course, it's a big win for the retailers. And there is going to be plenty of other examples in the retail media. I think if you think that you can connect, identify a shopper in the aisle, you know where he is, and you know his interest is very qualified traffic. If you can connect him and talk to him through the smartphone because you can connect him because of the technology, all of a sudden, the loyalty programs can be, you know, deployed in such a more personalized, relevant way. So, I mean, there are tons of cooperation areas, and there will be business models evolution because of that. So the good news is retailers are not going to be alone with the burden of modernizing their stores. All the brands, I'm sure, in the room are ready to somehow benefit from that and therefore co-finance it.
So when you are describing that future situation of the retailers, some of us are thinking about Minority Report and Tom Cruise entering a Levi's store, if I remember well, and having an interaction with an hologram, if I'm not mistaken. But well, we understand that we've been deploying personalization on promotion in most of the retail organizations recently. But that concept of a shelf that will display a message that is truly personalized to the customer, do you think this is something that is going to happen in the future?
Well, I don't see why not. I think probably we're on a journey, aren't we? Because I think when it comes to personalization, you do need to take customers on a journey, as well as take the retailers and your FMCG supplier partners on a journey. So if it's about knowing me a little bit better and understanding the mission that I'm on and being helpful to me in the mission that I'm on, I think the sky's the limit. And you're right, we need to move beyond it's all in the app or it's in a handheld scan device. But I think the key to it is, of course, having the right technology, and of course having the right data and understanding on the customer, but really understanding what value means to them in the moment and what's going to be helpful to them, and then proving that and growing from that.
Thank you. So the store is back, yes. Well, it never disappeared, actually. We are reinventing, to some extent, the way the store is structured from an operational point of view, also from a business model point of view. And I'd like to invite anyone in the room to ask any kind of question you may have in mind to my friends here. Anyone? Do you have a question? Yeah.
a bit closer. I can't hear you, sorry.
I thought that I'm loud enough. It's okay. I have a question to Tash. Thank you for the level of the sky. Your phrase about there is no limit, actually only the sky is the limit. So I wanted to know, how do you plan to implement AI and this augmented shop in your logistic way and your delivery experience? How are you going to grow in this direction? Thank you.
So you've asked me a question I don't have the answer to, because I come to you from Tesco Media, not the Tesco logistics part of the organisation, so I'm not going to try and fluff it. Don't have the answer. I think there might be a couple of people that are sitting alongside me who might be able to talk about that through the lens of other retailers. Maybe.
I think, accuracy through the supply chain is something. I talked earlier about perpetual inventory. So as you improve the accuracy, you will need less stock. As you apply the lens of AI on measurement, on distance, on route optimization, there is a nice product, not a nice product, there's a fantastic product on the Vusion stand today. And it's an RPC with a connection in it. And it's not an RFID, it's BLE protocol. This will track and trace through the entire supply chain. So I think once you... So, so how does it influence the customer? If you take fresh foods, it will be fresher. The life will be better. The quality of the refrigeration that we can monitor, the speed with which we get it to the shelf, and the velocity that we will improve the quality of the product to the customer. That's how I always think it. Tash talked about the customer. I always think, how does this crystallize for the customer? It's either less friction, better price, or better quality. If you can do all of the above, then that's the magic. So I think that's how it crystallizes.
Maybe another answer, just a number, because I think it's really striking. I was talking about the incredible increase in online orders fulfilled out of stores, thanks to better supply chain, better connected supply chain from Walmart. 35% of their online orders today are delivered in less than 3 hours. And we're talking about 2 million orders a day. 35%, and that's very important for shoppers.
Thank you very much. And Thierry, yes, you were mentioning e-commerce in the store, so picking goods from the store. What are the kind of technological means that they are using, to be so productive? Or what are the kind of technological
Well, I think it's a lot about it's a lot about optimizing the picking, basically. So to optimize the picking, first you need to be sure of where products are. You need to be sure of the digital map, permanently updated. You need to be sure your product is actually on the shelf and not out of stock. And then you need to guide with pick to light, just as in a normal warehouse, your pickers. And the beauty is that you have a very large assortment, as opposed to sometimes the narrower, because you've got the whole assortment of the store. So you deliver excellent service, basically, because you're close to retailers. They are forward deployed inventories. You're close to your shoppers. And obviously you deliver. So, I was myself, I knew the performance was exceptional, but I was myself amazed by this number. 2 million orders a day prepared in stores, 35% delivered in less than 3 hours, which is really amazing. And it's only the beginning, because obviously it's going to improve. So you can basically reduce by 50% the time it takes to prepare in store. But you have no capex for that, nearly, because you don't have to build those warehouses. You don't have to spend 5 hours in traffic jams, and so there is so many other benefits to that in the time you save. So it's very interesting question, by the way, because it's all about the shopper at the end of the day. It's all about the shopper. It's the only thing that's gonna count. Tidy and well-stocked shelves is for the shopper. No waiting time is for the shopper. No out of stock is for the shopper. Super fast and fresh e-commerce is for the shopper. And every time behind that, you get this incredible value of the store. the new
And,
digital
and if you can reach that level of accuracy when it comes to inventory, you are also able to provide that information to your employees and to your customers. So, yes, that's a virtuous circle, let's say, with a foundation which is the the communication protocol that we mentioned. Thanks again. I hope you enjoyed the discovery of that connected store concept, and yeah, the story is definitely there.